Hi, everybody, and welcome to Knitting on the Fly. I'm Katie, and I will be your host. I live in Maine. We'll start with that. I am recording because there's a blizzard currently outside my door, and I don't have to work today. It is called Knitting on the Fly because I'm an airline pilot. See the posters in my craft room? Yeah. Yes, I do fly for an airline in the Northeast. I basically go back and forth to Boston every day. My company has about 35 cities now that we service all through the Northeast, Florida, the Midwest, the Caribbean. And I currently live in Maine, so I'm snowed in, giving me the opportunity to knit and spin and craft and sew and do a podcast. So this is episode 1 where I try to figure it all out. And all of my sections are going to be aviation related. I will try to explain each one if it's not immediately obvious what the aviation term for it is or aviation definition of it is, and tell you what it means in my little podcast world. The purpose of this is twofold. I do not live near my family. They all live in the Midwest, so this is a way for me to share what I do on a weekly basis. So the first section is going to be called Jet Setting. It's going to be my adventures in life, travel, work, and otherwise. So they can get their update from me, and then they can shut it off and not watch the knitting part, or they can watch the knitting part. It's up to them. So that's the first part, and the second part is just to share my knitting. I really enjoy the knitting and the spinning and the crocheting and the crafting and sewing and whatever else I do, but I think it'd just be fun to share it with some people. And if nobody but 10 people watch it each week, then that's the 10 people that want to see what I've been doing for the week or hear what I've been up to. So, travel and work this week. I traveled last weekend to Texas. I currently travel to Texas every weekend to see my boyfriend. Sorry, I have an itchy nose. He currently is down there for work. Comes back in 53 days. So, about 7 or 8 weeks of travel left before he comes home. So, 2 weekends ago, I did not get out. We got a blizzard on a Friday, and I got stuck in Maine on the coldest weekend of the year. We were down in the negatives for most of the days. We broke 0 Fahrenheit a couple times. So this last weekend was uneventful travel-wise, and work this week was interesting. I flew Monday night, and Tuesday morning I did one round trip to Boston. The snow moved in. We got out of Dodge. I called all my passengers and said, we got to go. They all showed up. We left about an hour early. Good thing we did. If we would have waited till flight time, we'd all still be stuck in Boston, since we haven't flown since then. So, luckily, we called off the rest of the days, so I've had no more adventures in this storm. I've been safe at home, went to the grocery store, got stocked up for some cooking, and then I've been at home since about 11 yesterday. So it's been kind of nice to just relax and sleep in and not have to worry about going to work. So I'm going to try to record Wednesdays. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep to that. I do work a 14-hour workday. That's what's scheduled. That's not if we have delays. So there may be some weeks I just can't get it done. So I will let you guys know. But I'll do the best I can. I think I can swing 15 minutes. Although this is my third try for my first one. So it's been about an hour. I've been trying to get this down. The second part is going to be en route, which is what's on my needles. I've got a bunch. So the first one is my La Vie de Bois socks, and those are from Highland Handmaids. Both the yarn and the design are hers. Her name's Heather over at Highland Handmaids. She has an Etsy store. I also have it in my, I'm JetGirl1313 on Ravelry. So here's her. This is out of her Sugar Maple Sock yarn. It's got about 425 yards per skein. And I believe it's French for Life in the Woods, if I remember that correctly. But, yeah, the pattern's absolutely gorgeous. I've been working on these since November. All I've got to do is cast off the cuff. This is only the third pair of socks I've ever made, and it's the first pair of socks I've ever done with any real patterning, besides, like, ribbing or anything like that. So it's been slow going until I figured out how to read the charts. I figured out how to read the charts. I was so excited. I was sitting on an airplane staring at these stupid charts, and I'm like, I wasn't working. I wasn't knitting while I was working. I was traveling in the back of a big airliner. And I'm like, look at these charts. I'm like, I gotta figure out how to do this. And I managed to figure out the charts. She has them both written out and charted. Nice big half-page charts. Fabulous. Go check her out. She's on Etsy. I'll link her in the show notes, but she's really good. And she's also local Mainer, so that's really nice. I'm not a Mainer. She is. You can't be a Mainer unless you were born here. I'm a maniac. I love Maine, but I was not born here. Don't ever say you're a Mainer if you're not from Maine. People get very defensive about that. Second thing I'm working on is the Sheldon blanket. I found it on Knit Picks, and I'm going to make a little pocket that's going to go up here, and then I'm going to knit a little Sheldon turtle dude and stuff them in there. So I've got to finish one edge of the border and then make the pocket, and then that will be ready for a baby arriving this month, I think, February. So I got to get that going very quickly. I cast on my very first sweater. Been knitting for 10 years. Finally casting on my first sweater. It is the February Lady sweater. I'm doing a knit along with the Knitwits. Podcast group is doing a knit along with the February Lady sweater. So we cast on starting yesterday. I've made a buttonhole. Yay, buttonhole! Never done a buttonhole like that. Turned out pretty good. So I'm, doing some garter stitch. Hopefully it's not too hard that I screwed up. But it's going good so far. On my hook, I both knit and crochet, is the vintage, hold on, let me look. I forgot what it's called. Stand by. This is a long-term project that sits by my couch. It is called the Vintage Vertical Stripe Crocheted Blanket. It's about 300 and some chains. I'd stopped counting at like 200 and some my last count. But it's just a really long mess right now. So that's using up all my little bits and bobs of yarn I've got laying around the house. I think that's it for all my needles. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's probably enough, huh? So that's my en route. Landing the plane, finishing the flight. What's off my needles? I have a mitered hanging dish kitchen towel, which I've got a billion. I'm not even going to show you how much cotton I have sitting right over here. But it's just a little mitered. It miters fairly quickly at the beginning, and that gives it that kind of oblong diamond shape. And then you double up the top, and all I got to do really is, it's not quite off. It's off the needles, but I need to sew on the button. So that's all that's off my needles this week. That's fairly short for this week. I don't think I finished anything else. I finished a couple things a few weeks ago, which I'll probably show you the weeks that I don't have. If I don't have a finished object, I'll grab something I finished previously and share it with you. Takeoff. Preparing for takeoff, preparing for the flight is my planning for upcoming projects. I have 2 family members, cousins that are getting married this summer and fall that I basically grew up with like they were my brother and sister. So they are both getting homemade blankets. I just finished the Celtic, not Afghan. For those of you that do know me, you were with me through the trials and tribulations of that. This is my first major cable project, and if you go look on my projects page on Ravelry, I'm JetGirl1313, if I didn't say that already. Sorry if I said it already. I've done this a few times, so I may repeat myself. It's on there. It turned out beautifully. I'm making them out of acrylic only because the recipients are not fiber enthusiasts, and I don't want to give them wool and then have them felt it because it would break all of our hearts. So if Karen from the Knitwoods ever saw this, she'd be like, acrylic? And she hates acrylic. I'm not a big fan of it. It makes my hands hurt, but this yarn, I love this yarn. It is Hobby Lobby's version of acrylic. It's ridiculous. Super soft, does not hurt my hands even a little bit. I'm amazed, really am. I touched it, and you touch this and you touch Red Heart, and like one hand like curls away and the other one just keeps touching the nice soft acrylic. So that's going to be for Heidi. It's just an off-white and ivory color. Her brother Eric is going to get it's light taupe. It's the same thing. I love this yarn. For his, I wanted some lighter colors because I know that I want to use cable patterns. I'm looking at the Tree of Life. I think it's called the Lover's Not Afghan. I'm still working on it. I don't know which ones I'm going to do for which person and everything. So I'm still working on that. Then I'm going to make another Sheldon blanket. I've got another friend who's expecting a baby in March. Light blue, dark blue. Well, not dark blue, but 2 different shades of blue with the cream border again. And I'm going to make a little Sheldon turtle. And then the last thing that I want to cast on fairly soon is I got a skein of Socks That Rock. It's the medium weight, 100% superwash merino in rare gem. And a friend of mine from the She Knits Small Talk Group, which is another podcast. She sent me some of the stuff in her stash that either she had doubles of, or she just wanted me to have some good stuff when I started knitting socks last year. So she sent me socks that rock. She sent me some Koigu. Did she send me Melrigo sock? I don't know. She sent me some awesome stuff. So I'm finally going to cast on with this. That's just going to be a plain stockinette sock, and I'm just going to let the colors work its magic. So that's it for upcoming. That's it. 2 huge Afghans, and yeah, that's it for what's coming up. It's actually a lot. Ground stop, which is, if you ever hear that when you're traveling, it means that the airport you're departing for, your destination airport, has weather or some situation where they've held all the planes departing for that airport. So ground stop is going to be my hang-ups, epic fails, silly mistakes, stuff that I've got to redo in my knitting. This week, I have none. So ground stop is short and non-existent this week. Delays is my next section, which is what is keeping me from knitting. I got none. I got a snowstorm. I've got all the time in the world to knit, so that is not... I don't have any delays this week. Holding pattern is my spinning. I don't have a spinning wheel. I have 2 spindles. I broke one. So the owners... Again, this is Highland Handmaids. You would think this is a sponsored podcast by them, which it's not. I just... her and her husband are the one that got me into spinning. I ran into them at the Fiber Frolic in Maine last year. I had somehow found her on Ravelry like the week before, and I stopped by to say hi, and she's just my kind of people. Her and her husband are just the kind of people I like to be around. So I said I didn't really want to get into it. I just don't want to, go down that road. I've got enough yarn. I don't need fiber. And her husband conned me into buying a spindle and fiber as a special deal, and I often call them the evil enablers because I've fallen in love with spinning. So they're fixing the one spindle. I was drop spindling and I dropped it and the hook broke off. So they're currently repairing that for me. Lifetime warranty, which is good for me because I like to break stuff, apparently. I think this is Falklands. It's in the candy corn colorway, so you can see the white and the orange and the yellow. And that is Navajo plied. It's a 3-ply, which I'm doing on the drop spindle. So it's a little uneven just because the drop spindle and the Navajo plying is a little hard to control. I'm also spinning Cherry Blossom is what I was spinning on the first. It's browns and reds and whites. And that's currently on hold because that's the spindle that they're repairing for me because I broke it. The other thing I'm working on is Poetic. It's her 50/50 Merino Tencel blend. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of shiny, so it reflects the light. It's purples, steely grays, like a lilac color, and a little bit of silver in there. Oh, it's so nice. I could just sleep with it. So anyway, that's what I'm working on. This is on the spindle. It's pretty good. It's pretty even. It won't really focus on it. But it's pretty even for, this is the first little bit I've spun of that, so that's great. I've got another one. Oh, it's in the closet. I've got another one that is the same type. It's the steely grays, but it's like maroon reds. That one's called Thor's Hammer. Oh, I bought both braids of it when she posted it on Blurk. I stole it from Tina. Sorry, Tina. You can have the next batch. But this is their bird's eye spindle. So, beautiful. A little bit lighter, so it's spinning a little bit finer. That's it for my... I haven't really been spinning lately, but I thought I'd show you what I am spinning. And the last section is going to be reservations. Basically, it's going to be if you guys have questions for me about my knitting or traveling, or if you had something weird happen to you when you were traveling and you don't understand, or why the aviation industry does what it does, you're more than welcome to ask me. The show notes page is going to be knittinonthefly.blogspot.com. KNITTINONTHEFLY. So knittin' with no G. Knittin' on the fly. And I hope you enjoy it, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.